Welcome to the Garden State Model Railway. My name is Ron Bassani. I'm president of the club, and I want to spend just a couple of minutes of giving you a brief history on the club that brought us here today. So as far back as 1952, several guys got together in a two-car garage in Paterson, New Jersey, and formed the Garden State Model Railway Club. Very good guys, wanted to build a layout, but obviously ran out of space very quickly in a two-car garage. So only 5 years later, in 1957, they moved from that two-car garage into a space in the basement of a strip mall in North Haledon, New Jersey, and that's where I'm standing today. They decided to build a rather extensive layout, and for the next 35 years, this layout continued to grow and expand until eventually they filled the space. But as is often the case, in 1992, after they expanded as far as they could, it was time to build a new layout. So they tore the old layout down and started all over again in 1992 with the layout that basically is the one I'm standing next to today. This layout was DC originally, but as far back as 2000, they eventually modified it and went to DCC, Digital Command Control, and that's obviously what we use today. So let's start our tour. When people come into the Garden State Model Railway, the first thing they notice is the structure behind me. This is a scratch-built replica of the Jersey City Terminal. It even has a clock that works. It's a beautiful structure, and it catches every person's eye as they come into our club. So when people see this, they get a quick and immediate understanding that they are entering a miniature world.
I'm Pete Swanson. I'm part of the scenery committee, and we turned this scene to a fall scene. Took about 60 hours to build the whole scene. We had to tear it down and restart. We took out all the water, cut out the water, removed a lot of the things off the mountains. They had all kinds of weeds, and we added all new trees from woodland scenery, and some super trees we're going to add into there too. But we're not quite done with it yet.
Alright, so I'm here at Albatross Yard. This is the main yard of the railroad. For our shows, this is where we dispatch our trains, build trains, stuff like that. We have this yard panel right here where depending on which track you're looking to run on, you could turn on the power. Over here you have push buttons to align the proper switches for yourself. And as you can see right now, some of the scenery is stripped off. We're in the process of a refresher. We have a freight facility going over here. Over here we have our engine terminal, which is custom built.
We're here at Norristown on our model railroad, and this is where the Otter Creek and Perry, our branch railroad, intersects with our mainline railroad, the Garden State Northern. Norristown features a small yard, as well as a station stop for our passenger service. We also have a chemical plant and storage on the other side of Norristown. But what really stands out with Norristown is the catenary. Our entire branch line is catenary, and how this came to be was one of our members actually worked for a power utility, and inspired by the Pennsylvania Railroad, who had at the end of its time a lot of electric lines and electric freight, decided that they would add catenary to our model railroad. So what's really fascinating for me is the amount of detail and accuracy in the catenary and how it actually reflects how a real utility would run and install something very similar. The lines in our catenary aren't powered, but it really adds that extra bit of detail when you can take an engine and have the pantograph up and run under catenary. It's always a really cool look for me. One of the things we're working on in Norristown is updating this scene. So our cityscape here, we've taken a town in Pennsylvania and we're going to rework to be more accurate and more detailed based on that town. So we're always working on our railroad. We're always trying to figure out what can be better, what we can do differently. That's one of those things. When you have a model railroad, at the end of the day, you're never done. There's always something you can do better and change and mix up, and that's what we've been working on in Norristown.
I'm here at Middletown. It's named because it's roughly the middle of the railroad. The yard here is where the Otter Creek and Perry trains originate. A lot of the freight interchanges with the main line, the Garden State Northern here. A lot of the commuter trains stop here during the day. It's one of our main stations outside of Jersey City.
Hi everybody, my name is Joe Rizzo. I'm going to tell you all about Otter Creek. It was part of Perry, which is in the center aisle. Perry and Otter Creek. One of our members has a railroad that he designed that he named Otter Creek and Perry. So this is Otter Creek, Perry's over there. Now this was put together by a former member, a really good friend of mine, and he took all these things from his life and created this all. Moliere's, Curly Grains, Bill Clement's Premium Cement, and Larry's Hardwood Furniture. Now I'm sure you probably know where the Moliere, Curly, and Larry come from, the Three Stooges. So he named these all. But that Bill Clement was a ranger, and they said he had hands of cement. So that's a cement plant, so he named it Clement's Premium Cement. People took parts of the railroad and they were responsible for building that. Now this one, Walter Seed and Tackle, that was Walter, and it became Walterville. And we ended up using a lot of club members' names for them. This is one of my favorite areas. It's real fun. Oh, Racetown. Racetown, Ray was a member a long time ago who passed away. And so we named that lake Racetown Lake.
As an extension of building the new layout in the year 2000, included introducing software and electronics to allow us to control the entire layout from a single dispatch station, which as you see behind me. One of our key dispatchers is Dean. He's going to talk a little bit about what the actual station looks like and what it actually does. Dean?
Thanks, Ron. So behind me we have our dispatch panel. I'm able to control all switches and signals on the railroad while monitoring trains during our shows and our op sessions. So taking a closer look at our screen, the top screen shows signal aspects and train locations indicated by these red lines. Below it, these are all controls to allow me to control every switch and signal on the railroad. I can route trains any way I want with all these switches. Below that, we have our control panel for our hidden and staging yards, allowing me to hold and keep trains staged for our op and show seasons.
Hi, I'm Greg Wacharski. I am head of operations at the club, and I am here to talk about our new railroad that we are currently building next door to our old one. This space that we are building in was formerly occupied by the New Jersey Society of Model Engineers. They were an O-scale club that unfortunately folded in the 2010s. Since then, we have taken on this space as our newest project, which, as you can see, is a large multi-deck model railroad. This track plan, which I helped design, was done in XTrackCAD, which is a free model railroad track planning software. We are well underway under construction, and we are hoping this is a fun railroad for visitors to see, entertaining railroad for those who like prototypical operations, and ultimately a railroad that we love and enjoy and can help sustain the club over the next coming decades.
We have a few members that put a lot of effort into this club that are here with us tonight, and I'd like to introduce one of them to you, Robert Putt. He's responsible for a lot of the key features associated with this layout, and I want to introduce him, and I'm going to ask him to just tell us a little bit more about what he's responsible for and what effort he's already put into this layout.
Thanks, Ron. As Ron mentioned, my name is Bob Putt. I am responsible for doing a lot of the main construction for the layout. We started with the Helix main branch. We have the lower level, this is the main branch, and then we have an upper level. We do have another level up on top. Everything, main line is definitely operating now. We have trains that we can run all the way around the layout to that point. Another thing that I do is we've incorporated LED lighting to get away from a lot of incandescents. Being that incandescents, fluorescents aren't going to be available after a while. So we opted to go with LED. We were fortunate enough to purchase a lot of them eBay, people with liquidation, so we were able to come up with that. I've been an electrician for over 40 years, so it's been pretty easy to incorporate that. On this side we have a mock-up of some of the scenery. We're in the process at this stage now that we're at the top level. We're starting to incorporate looking at getting some of the industries in. This is a mock-up of a quarry that one of our members is doing. As it is, this is not just a one-person job. This is a club job where everybody has to be involved, everybody has to put in their 100%. As I stated earlier, one of the other things that I'm working on is we're working on putting the panels up so that we'll be able to control the train's switches. This panel is for our lower level, and then we have cameras because you're not going to be able to see once the main deck is on, so you'll be able to see through the camera where your trains are at. So at this point, I know one of our other guys are here that did a lot of the construction work with us. Let me introduce you to Jimmy Dobner.
Hi, my name's Jim Dobner. I'm a member of Garden State Model Railroad. I'm one of the gentlemen that worked on the design for the framework, backdrops, fascias, and balances. As part of that, we went and looked at other clubs and saw how they built their benchwork, decided we wanted a cantilever set up here. We had some other restrictions like the height for the first level. We wanted to keep it high enough to fit our cabinets in underneath for our trains. One of the other things we did is we made a lot of assembly line. When we did the fascias, we made up brackets, had one guy screwing them, one guy cutting them. We did the same thing with the cantilever for each level. There's plywood gussets in there. So everything we worked on as a team, and we did it as an assembly. And once we got it going, we did good.
Yeah, hi, I'm Gordon. I'm on the track committee, and I've been laying a lot of the track here for the new layout. We're using Atlas Code 100, flex track on the main lines. Some of the yards are going to be done with Code 83. Some is on the plywood. The main lines are on cork. We have transition pieces where we go from the plywood onto the cork, leaving a 1/4 inch elevation spacing. We're using a lot of fast track switches and some Pico in hard to do areas where they won't be too accessible, so we can get at the other ones to fix them if they need fixing. We're using the NEC system for command control. The helixes that we put together, they were kind of difficult, having to figure out the proper angles and lengths and everything to get the circles right. But we accomplished it.
I hope you enjoyed watching our latest video showcasing both the Garden State Model Railway Club's 2 layouts. As you can clearly see, we are not resting on our laurels on our historic layout. We're investing a great deal of time and energy in our next generation layout, which, when complete, will have 3 levels, as you can see behind me. When this is complete, we'll be able to run a lot of trains and have great operating sessions, which include both freight cars and commuter trains, and we're really looking forward to this. It's going to be years before it's complete, but we're clearly on our way. In the end, as is often the case, even this video does not do our layouts justice. I invite you to come to one of our open house shows to see our club and its many trains in action. We host weekend shows in both the spring, starting at the end of March into April, and again in the fall, starting on Black Friday into early December. And by the way, don't forget to bring your little ones when you come here. We have 2 children's layouts that we bring out and organize for the little tykes to get a sense of railroading at a very early age. We try and break them in young. I hope you enjoyed this video. So again, thanks for watching and happy modeling.